went to the swimmer t-shirt that says chlorine is my perfume.
Oh, cool. I like that. Chlorine is my perfume. Yes.
I'm a gymnast, so with the gymnast, I put the quote, I can accept failure, but I cannot accept not trying. And my favorite animal is an owl, so it's the same quote.
Cool. Great. Great examples. Anybody else on this side of the room want to share theirs? Yes.
Mine was like a music sign that's
So you are, what instrument? You play an instrument?
Oh, yeah.
Piano, and you likewise like to sing. And what was your other alternate? Good for you. Yes.
I like pandas a lot, so I have a panda with a mustache because I just like having animals with mustaches because I find it so fascinating how they like match together. I have a bow, and a brush that I bird, and it inside a sea.
Cool. What a great idea. Yes.
I did different things that I liked for my initials and then doing a design on the bottom.
Nice. Very nice. Let's see. Anybody on this side want to share? Clear back in the right corner. Yes. What do you got on there?
I have Boba Fett playing soccer and Darth Vader doing martial arts.
Okay. Cool. And of course, you have something to look forward to with Star Wars right now. Just a few months away. Anyone else on this side? Okay, so you showed this t-shirt to yourself and maybe the people at your table. So you have that process in your mind. And so now we're going to kind of move into, well, first of all, I'm going to use that as an example to talk just a little bit. I didn't talk to this class about the start of the t-shirt company, right? The t-shirt, where the t-shirt came from? Okay, cool. After you've done it 4 times, you start thinking, I don't want to tell you the same story twice. I don't want to be like a grandmother who says, oh, and you start the whole thing. Okay, so here we go. Where do you think a t-shirt first started? Like, this is not a t-shirt. It's not something that fell from heaven. And one day a person looked up and said, alas, a t-shirt cometh towards me. So, where do you think t-shirts actually started?
Someone grows cotton and then they make that into fabric.
Yes, absolutely correct. If you couldn't hear him, somebody grows cotton, started that fabric piece. But who do you think was the first person to buy t-shirts or organization? What were they actually created for? Yes?
I think I read somewhere that sailors used them.
Thank you very much. The military is the first place. You're absolutely right. So a long time ago, we're going to say way long before you even thought of, in World War I, the t-shirt was created because the European fighters were already wearing t-shirts. They were wearing this really nice, lightweight shirt in the shape of a letter T, hence the word t-shirt. The letter T, and they were not itching and hot like the American military soldiers were. It was hot, sticky. They were wearing these long sleeve green things that were made of, in many cases, wool. And I don't know how many of you have ever worn wool anytime, but in the summer, on a day like yesterday or this past weekend when it was in the 90s and it was humid, it would make your skin hot and wet and smell bad. So the thoughts of this t-shirt, this lightweight piece of what we would call now underwear almost, was something that they really liked to wear because it was much better than the choice they had before. Then we had 2 major people, Elvis Presley. How many of you have heard of Elvis Presley? Please tell me you have. Thank you. And then we had this other guy. His name is the Fonz. He is from Happy Days. You've heard of him? Thank you. Yes. One of the few today who, thank you for being a good guy and telling me that you've heard of him. The Fonz was a guy who wore a white t-shirt, a leather jacket. He would go, hey, how you doing? All the time. And he rode a motorcycle and he looked cool. So that plain white t-shirt became the cool look. Like you were like cool. Then we went to tie-dye t-shirts. Anyone heard of tie-dye t-shirts? Yes. And you've probably made some. They're always really nice. Today, t-shirts tell us what you believe in. If today I came in here with a t-shirt on and it had a pink ribbon on it, what would it probably mean that I believe in or support?
Breast cancer.
That's correct. If I had a t-shirt on it that had a swoosh on it, what would I probably like?
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan, and what does he represent?
Basketball.
Basketball and what company?
Nike.
That is correct. So we don't even have to see the word Nike. We don't even have to see the word breast cancer. We automatically know when we see that on a shirt that it is representing that particular part of the industry, or something that we would actually spend money on if it's a Nike pair of tennis shoes, or something we would support like the Susan B. Komen breast cancer awareness campaign. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be creating teams. On your teams, you're going to have about 4 or 5 people. I don't know who your teams are going to be. That's going to be up to your teachers. They're going to assign you a team. On your team, you will have a person who will be the CEO of the company. You'll have a person who will be the art director. You'll have a person who will be the technology director. And you will have a person who will be the marketing director. Now, anybody know what a CEO is, as in what it stands for? What the letters CEO. Thank you. Chief Executive Officer. That person's role is going to be to keep it going, keep everything moving. It doesn't mean they can be bossy and demanding and make your life miserable. It means that they are usually an organized person who can say, we've got to get this done. Don't mess around. Get back to work and get your job done. The art director should be somebody who knows how to draw. You would not want me on your team because all I do is draw stick figures, round circles with sticks for legs and arms. I would not be a good person to draw for your t-shirt. The technology director, you'll be given a sheet of paper that says what 15 slides for a presentation, a slide being each one of the pages for your PowerPoint or Prezi, depending on which type of system you're using. So you're going to have a technology director who puts all that stuff on your presentation. There'll be a slide for the name of your company. There'll be a slide for the name of the people on your team. There'll be a slide that shows the design of your t-shirt. Then there will also be 3 slides that are there to tell what nonprofit you're supporting as a team, just the 5 of you. The marketing person's job is to tell a compelling story. Does anybody know what marketing is? What would marketing be used for? Yes.
Trying to convince people to buy your product.
That is correct. Lots of times marketing and advertising go together because you're basically trying to sell your idea. What is a compelling story? Anybody know what a compelling? Can you think of a commercial on television that tells a compelling story? Yes.
Something that might be persuasive to the audience that
That
might
is-
want to get them to buy it.
Yes, great example. And an example of one on TV that always comes to mind for me is that SPCA commercial with those little animals in those cages and they look like they're crying. And I don't know how they get dogs to look like they're crying, but they do look like they're crying. And those particular ads make me want to run to the SPCA and let all the animals out. Well, actually, I can't do that. But what I could do, which is what they would like me to do, is send them money so that they can either treat them better, get them to homes, have foster dog, cat owners, or whatever. So, all of those things tell a compelling story. The winning t-shirt when we did this at Wyoming Middle School was actually from a team of 5 girls who, just like you, might not know each other very well that were on the teams that you're assigned to. You might not be best friends. These 5 girls were not best friends. They were assigned a team. And when they started talking about what nonprofit do we want the money to go to from our team, they realized that all 5 of them had a grandparent who had Alzheimer's. Does everybody know kind of what Alzheimer's is? Alzheimer's was a very key piece for all 5 of them. So when they did their presentation, they actually told their compelling story by A, saying all 5 of us realized we had a grandparent who had Alzheimer's, and then B, they had pictures coming on their presentation of all of them with their grandparents, like sitting on their grandparents' lap, being at a party together, celebrating a birthday, celebrating Christmas, and all of those pictures made you really feel like you wanted to cry. Because all of us who were doing the voting, we all have grandparents, just like all of you do, and it made us sad to think about their grandparents not being well any longer and being able to recognize them in some cases. So that was an extremely compelling story. And even though their t-shirt wasn't that great, to tell you the truth, it wasn't the most beautiful t-shirt, they basically won because who they were giving to as a nonprofit trumped an okay t-shirt. They're the Wyoming Cowboys, so it just said Wyoming Middle School, it's a cowboy thing. Okay, well, like I said, it wasn't the t-shirt that sold, it was the nonprofit that they were giving money to that actually sold the idea. So you will be on a team. Let me see if I can choose a couple of ones. So let's just pretend, for the sake of pretending, that over here to my left, we have a group of girls, and this group of girls all get placed on the same team. And they're going to name their team. They're going to name their business, just like all of you would name your business. And this particular team's business name is the Princesses of Mason Intermediate. That's the name of their business. And right beside them is this 4-person team. And this is the Minecraft nerds of Mason Intermediate. And so these two teams are competing against each other, just like the other 8 teams that might be in this room. So they're going to take they're going to have, one of them is going to be a CEO, one of them is going to be the art director, one's going to be technology, one's going to be marketing, and they're going to work together. Their technology person's going to be making their slides and their presentation. We're going to be putting the names of all of them on there, making maybe a beautiful pink crown that says Princesses of Mason Intermediate on it, some way logoing their business. Then the next few slides are going to show the picture of the t-shirt that they've created. Now the t-shirt you're creating is a spirit wear t-shirt, which means it's for you to wear to school, and it says Mason Intermediate on it. So it could be something really basic. It could be Mason Intermediate, a good place to be, Mason Intermediate with a like sign, could be Mason, lots of different things. Or you could choose to go on some theme of your own, with Mason Intermediate being part of it. You can use the Mason logo. You could use all kinds of ideas, the colors, etc. And on the 22nd of September, the t-shirt company provider for this project is going to be here. And he'll have big sample color charts that he'll hand out to all the teams. So in this case, our Minecraft nerds and our Princesses of Mason Intermediate would get their color things. They're not really palettes. They're just like those kind of things when you go into a paint store, you know, you can see all the colors. And you'll choose your color and the color of the writing that you want. And so you'll actually have, now the way some schools do it is they'll take a picture of a t-shirt like this, draw their image on it, and then somebody at home might have the ability to scan this, and then you can put it right into your PowerPoint presentation. And it can be just as simple as just a hand-drawn example. But when the gentleman who comes from the t-shirt company is here, he will show you that he takes whatever you've hand-drawn, and he'll make it look just like a t-shirt that you guys are wearing today. So it's not going to look like somebody drew it. It's going to look like a real t-shirt. Yes, question?
Is everyone, even if they don't win, going to get their t-shirt made?
Good question. Only the winning one. So this is a true competition. This is when, I don't know if you've ever heard this phrase before, keeping something close to your vest. That's one of those phrases. It means don't let people see your idea ahead of time. It means don't talk loudly at your tables when you're working, because people can start working on an idea and all at once you think, hey, their idea looks an awful lot like our idea. And that's because they've kind of sort of borrowed things from your ideas. So you want to keep your ideas to yourself. And what you're going to be doing before October 1st is you're going to be doing your presentations over here on this side of the room to your classmates. And your classmates are going to vote on the top 2 teams from this class. Then October 1st, myself with a panel of people from the university, as well as hopefully some administrators from here in your district, will be in a room, and we'll call the winning 2 teams in, and they will come in and they will actually do their presentations before all of us, and we will then vote on the top one, kind of like Shark Tank. You'll go in and come up, and your presentation will come up, and you'll do your thing. And we will choose the winner. The winner then means that your t-shirt is the one that's going to be the one that everybody in the school that chooses to buy it for instance, $10, they will all be wearing the t-shirt that you and your team created, which is kind of a cool thing. And we take a lot of pictures, and we, have a parade. No, we don't have a parade. But we will make sure that you get a lot of credit. You will get, that winning team also gets a letter from the university saying that you were the winning team, and congratulations for being on the winning team from the University of Cincinnati. So that's kind of the concept and where we're headed. Yes?
The t-shirt like cotton.
The t-shirt is cotton. If you go home today, which reminds me, how many t-shirts do you think the average person has in their drawer today? I'll tell you it's more than one. Yes?
45.
Less.
30.
Less.
23.
Less.
20.
Less.
15.
14. That's close. Now we're talking everybody. So, we're talking people who might be homeless and they've just got a couple of t-shirts, up to people like maybe some of you know people who have like 50 t-shirts. Especially if you're talking about all the walkathons you've been in and you've played sports and you've got t-shirts from when you were this tall and from this tall and, all of them in between. So, you're going to take that t-shirt concept after we're finished and we've judged. You will then sell that t-shirt, and then the nonprofit that you chose as a team, your team's nonprofit, will come in after the t-shirts have been sold and they'll receive their check. Now, if we had, let's say for instance, there's 2,000 people who go here in the intermediate, you sell this t-shirt to the entire intermediate. And I'm going to say statistically that means around 500 or less will buy a t-shirt. If you're able to give $500 to a nonprofit that you choose, that's a pretty big deal. Now, I mean, you might go on a walkathon and you might be able to walk a long time and be able to give like $50 to a nonprofit. But when you're able to give a lot of money to somebody who really, really needs it, that's a big deal. So we'll have a presentation of the check that, one of those big ones that doesn't fit in any ATM. We'll bring one of those in, and that will be given to the winning team, the winning nonprofit. So you're a contributor. The only thing that you're not getting through this whole process is you're a startup entrepreneur, so you don't get paid. So your team's contribution and what you get out of this is the ability to give to a nonprofit and do it within the school day during the context of your school classroom. Okay, so what is the next step? The next step is you're going to be given an application either tomorrow or Monday based upon when you come here next time. This is the application that you need to fill out with one of the jobs that I mentioned on here as your job. You will also be given your team assignment before you fill this out. So you'll know who's on your team before this is an issue. So, you're kind of looking around at your team and you say, you know what, I think you would be really good. You can kind of start thinking about that when your team is assigned as to who would be best around the table, the different jobs. This is going to be for next Friday, the 18th. We will be back here, I will, with 4 more people from UC, and we will be doing interviews. This has to be in our hand to interview you. If you forget it, if you leave it on the bus, you leave it in your book bag, and your book bag is not in the classroom, or you leave it at home, you don't get interviewed. It has to be completed in blue or black ink. No pink, red, green, light yellow, chartreuse, ecru, no. Any of those colors, only black or blue. Yes?
Are we allowed to use pencil?
It is recommended that you don't use pencil. And I'll tell you why. It's not an issue here, but someday if you ever fill out a real application for a job and you use pencil, you know what people can do. That's correct. And every once in a while, a boss who might not be as kind as he should be has you fill out an application, you do it in pencil, and it says something on there the boss doesn't like and he really doesn't want to hire you, he could easily erase that and say, well, he never even, or she never even told me about that. So black or blue is permanent, but because they're permanent, it means you've got to use your best handwriting. The worst thing that can happen on an application is that we look at it and we say, whoa, somebody either got really ill on this sheet of paper or they don't know how to write. Now, you know, I'm left-handed, so I feel badly for left-handed people because we have a problem with dragging stuff across, and we can sometimes erase an entire line because we drag our hand through. But we left-handers have learned how to compensate because we have to overcome a lot. And so, yeah, there you go. I've got a head nodder over here. He's with me. So you're going to fill this out. Next Thursday, you'll be sent to a room. There'll be different locations where we'll be doing interviews. And there will be 3 things that you have to remember when you're interviewed. All of the CEOs, for instance, will be interviewed together. All of the marketing directors, all the technology directors, all of the treasurers. So that you'll be at one table. And let's say, for instance, I am going to be, and this is a group of guys who are interviewing for CEO. And I come up to this young guy, and he stands up. Thank you. And I come up to him, and I shake his hand. I say, hey, my name is Dr. Crew, and you are?
I'm Carl Blaybaugh.
Nice to meet you. And he will hand me his application, and I will say, thanks, we'll have a seat. It's good to have you here, so you'll have a seat. He did all 3 things that you need to do for an interview. He did all 3 of them. First of all, he shook my hand firmly. Now it's tingling a bit, so he might have squeezed it a little too hard. No, he actually did a great job. You do not want to actually take someone's hand and it looks kind of like it's not a part of the rest of your body. Like it just has this really yucky feel to it. You want to make sure the person knows that you're shaking their hand without breaking bones. Secondly, you need to look people in your eye. He did a great job. He wasn't looking at the ceiling, to which then I would be looking at the ceiling thinking, I wonder what he's looking at, or looking out the windows while he was talking to me to see what kind of day it was. He was concentrating on me and interviewing me, asking me who I was or answering my question. The third thing he did was that whenever he did that, he also told me his name and I could hear him. There's nothing worse than when you're interviewing somebody or you're talking to them and they talk like this. And what was your name again? Okay, this is not helpful. If you want us to know who you are, you got to talk louder enough for us to hear you. Now, I'm not talking for you to use an outdoor voice. We're just saying those are the main things. So your application and look people in the eye, shake their hands, and talk loudly enough to be heard are the 4 things you need to bring. The last thing you need to bring is yourself in a clean, well-kept outfit. Girls, I've said this in every group, do not go home today and tell your parents or your guardian or whomever you happen to be with that Dr. Crew was at our school today from UC, and she said we all need to go out and have new outfits for next Friday for interviews, because I'm not saying that. But if you want to dress up, you can dress up as much as you want to dress up, and you can look to whatever degree professional. But your teachers will be talking about that to you too, because that's, once again, not something that I'm in charge of. So that's next Friday. You will know by Monday who has what jobs. On that next Tuesday, I believe, is when Mr. Elliott from Apex, the t-shirt guy, will be here. And then you'll be moving quickly to get your presentations ready by doing the technology piece and moving, because then you've only got a week, and the next week is when you'll actually be doing your presentations. So I'm going to come up for air, and I'm going to say, do any of you have questions? Yes?
So are we allowed to choose any supporter that we want?
As a team, you have to all decide. So tomorrow you're going to talk a little bit more about nonprofits. The thing is, you have to make a decision as a team. So we like it if you pick somebody local, because then we can get somebody local to come in and obtain the check. So that's about the only thing. You know, if you pick some nonprofit that's out in Boulder, Colorado, it's going to be hard for us to get somebody to accept the check. This particular area in Cincinnati, the greater Cincinnati area, has more nonprofits than any place in the United States based upon its size. So you've got a ton of choices around here to choose from, many of which you could name off, boom, 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 because they're people that you've supported as a family. So, yes.
Can more than one person on the same team apply for the same job?
Yes, thank you for clarifying that. On your application, there will be a place for you to say, if I don't get this job, I would like, and you can put the other job name down. There are times when we have put a person in an assistant position as well. So if you're in an assistant, let's say, for instance, there were two people who wanted CEO from a team. One person could be the CEO and the other one the assistant CEO, and he or she is going to fill in some of the jobs of the one that wasn't filled, and as part of their job responsibilities. So there's a place on there for you to tell us that. Yes?
Are we allowed to have images on the t-shirt?
Images?
Yeah.
Images would be limited to things that would not be in a problem with copyright. So let's say you wanted to use the UC Bearcat, which you wouldn't, but if you did, it would take us so long to get permission for you to use the UC Bearcat that we wouldn't. It would be a mess. So images are within reason. Anything else? Anybody questions? Yes?
So are we supposed to put like a phrase on our t-shirt, or just like a phrase supposed to put on our t-shirt?
On your t-shirt, you want to think about if you were going to buy a t-shirt to wear where you were just talking about Mason Intermediate. So you've probably seen like college t-shirts or even Mason High School t-shirts where they put the name of the school and they might put a picture of the mascot and then, you know, something that you don't even have to have anything else, just something that says we're all a team or some little statement that you want to make. But the more cluttered you make it, and Mr. Elliott will say, the more stuff you try to put on there, the more confusing it gets. The more simple and basic, the better off you usually are. But you'll be able to choose the colors and all those kind of things. Yes?
So it sounds like you want it to be creative, you want to think
Yeah.
outside the box, but at the same time, keep it simple.
Right. Right. There are certain things that you guys, and just to bring Minecraft in, which is kind of funny and etc. But let's just say that there's some kind of way that you could use a slogan from something that you do a lot, like Minecraft. Lots of kids are into Minecraft. If there was some way you could use that same slogan and it made you think of Minecraft, but you were thinking about Mason Intermediate School, and that was kind of a slogan. People said, that reminds me of Minecraft. I love that. I'm going to buy one of those t-shirts. You're driving people towards your product to get them to buy it. Yes?
Does it have to include our school on it? Our t-shirt?
Well, you know, you want to think, what would have the most appeal? And so there's one common thing that goes across all 2,000 kids that are here, and that's that you're all going to the same school.
Oh, so we're just selling them to people at our school?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Thanks, that's a good clarification. Otherwise, what you talking about? Yes. That's
It's
right.
a t-shirt that represents your school, that people would buy. So it has to be enticing, like she said, you want people to want to buy it.
Yeah.
Like go to MI.
Would it be copywriting if we use like the Mason logo?
No, that's all fine. Yeah,
Like just like Mason comments.
it could do that, if that's what your team decided. Yes.
Where will this be sold?
It will be sold here at your school, like during lunchtime or during a specific time when people have release time to sell them. It could be advertised online, and then the first thing in the morning, they're sold somewhere here at school. So that would all be information that parents and you would all know that information. Okay, last question.
If you're the winning team, would you have to pay to get the shirt, or would you instantly get one?
If you're the winning team, you buy one just like everyone else. Usually the winning team, we do make sure that they get pizza for lunch. We bring out whatever, La Rosa's, etc., for whatever the winning team is. And we also make sure that the winning team is advertised places, as long as you're not in any issues where you're not allowed to be on the internet. As in, we can't post your picture or something, but we make sure you get on a lot of press, and so would Mason. Mason will definitely be interested in putting you on their school page website if you win. Yes?
Whenever you're selling them, are you allowed to buy one?
Oh, please. We certainly hope you buy. In fact, whoever the winning team is, the worst thing that you guys could do is not support the winning team, even if you're not the winning team. So the best way you can support the winning team is by buying their product. Yes. Somebody else have a question over here? Ah,
If you're the winning team, would you get a t-shirt for free or would you have to buy it?
you would still buy yours, just like anybody else.